Hey Guitar fam and friends, welcome to this cover song lesson. My name is Nate Savage. I'm very excited to be doing this lesson today because I recently had a tumor on my finger, which was very scary for a guitar player, right? But it's getting better. I just want to let you know my finger looks a little bit red, swollen. That is why. Anyway, as usual, all the resources for this lesson, the tab, jam tracks, multiple jam tracks without the guitar and then without the guitar, the vocal, and of course the video are on the Guitar Fam website for you. So if you haven't yet, go to guitarfam.com, create your complimentary account. We got a lot of cool stuff going on there. If you'd like to upgrade to a premium account, even we have things like accountability groups, collaboration challenges, things like that. Whatever we can do to make you feel like a part of the family and to help you grow as a musician, that's what we're doing. Let's go ahead and get into this one. This is more challenging than it seems because you have to be like dead laser accuracy throughout, the whole 3.5 minutes of the song. But I'll show you some steps to get there with what's going on here in the finger style version of the song. If you need help with the chords and the chord progressions and all that, you can go to the simple version of this song right here, where you can just learn the chords, chord progressions, strumming pattern, things like that. That'll make it way easier to jump into the finger style that we're gonna learn here. All right, first things first, we're in the key of A. So the chords in the key of A are A major, B minor is the 2, 3 is the C sharp minor, D is a 4, 5 is your E chord, E major, F sharp minor is your 6, and if you had a 7, it would be a G sharp diminished. There are only 6 chords in this entire song, so it's not that bad. There's one bar chord at F sharp minor. Let's go ahead and go through them in order, the order in which they appear in the song. So an A, an open A, then you have an F sharp minor, then an open E, a D major, a G major, which is not in the key of A. That's on one chord that doesn't fit in the key of A major. And then E, 7. So just like an E chord, just let this third finger up and put your pinky down on the 3rd fret of the B string. So those are the main chords you need. We're not using all the chords in the key of A, but a good chunk of them. So that's really the first step. Make sure you can go to all those chords on their own, outside of the context of, the finger style and all that stuff first. So for the song, I came up with kind of a standardized version of it that's very predictable, that uses one main finger style pattern. And then what I would really recommend doing is getting this one pattern down with each individual chord and then try to put them in the context of the song. And if you need to learn the format of the song, verses, courses, chord progressions, everything like that, and then work on switching between the chords, I would go to this video right here because it's the strumming easier version of this song. That'll make it easier to plug those chords and progressions in with your finger style pattern here. But again, what I would do is just learn this pattern with the A, then with the F sharp minor, then the E, then the D, then the G, then the E7. And you'll see there are only a few variations on it for each chord. It's basically which chords use like a 5-string version like the A, which ones use a 6-string version like the F sharp minor and the E, and then which one, the only one that uses a 4-string version is the D. And you'll see what I mean when we plug in the pattern. So let's get an A on, and the pattern is this right here. Thumb on the A string, or I should say first, get your index finger and your middle finger set up on the B and high E strings. That's where they're gonna live throughout most of this entire song, if not the whole thing. So I'm gonna set up like that. And I'm using a thumb pick here. You can use a thumb pick or not. I'm pretty sure John Denver did, so that's what I opted to do. And I'm floating my hand, which is a bit weird for me because normally when I use a thumb pick, I anchor the palm of my hand down here on the bridge or the saddle of the guitar. So floating it was a little bit of adjustment for me, but I wanted to play it as much like him as I could. Anyway, here's the pattern. A string open with your thumb, index finger on the B string. And then this is a little bit of an abnormal thing. I skip, normally when I play an A, I would expect to go to the D string next. Now I go index and then I skip up to the G string and then the high E string with my index finger. Okay, so thumb on the A, index finger on the B, thumb on the G, and middle finger on the high A, and then thumb goes down to the low E string, and then index finger on the B again, thumb back to the G string, middle finger on the high E. So we end up with this pattern with our thumb on A, G, E, G. Like I said, normally I would expect to go A, D, E, D. for this kind of thing, but the patterns he's playing sound more like that. And I'm just throwing in alternating index and middle fingers between each thumb stroke. So one time a little slower. So that's really what I would recommend doing, and getting it down with just the A chord, because the majority of the song, or this is the chord that's used the most in the song, is the A. So just go as slow as you need to really program it in. And if this is the first time you've played a pattern like this, it's probably going to take a while to train your thumb for where those bass notes actually are. So let me make a promise to you. The more you slow this down, the faster it will come to you. So it may take a few days, it may take a few weeks or a month or two, depending on how much experience you have with your thumb and doing patterns like this, right? The nice thing is it's a very symmetrical pattern, very easy to sing with this, if that's one of your most. And you'll notice the longer you work on it, the less you have to think about it too. But that's the main pattern. And again, like I said, A is a 5-string chord, but we are incorporating this low E string in here, but our home bass is on the 5th string. That's what I mean by that. All right, let's go on to the next chord. It's a F sharp minor, and I consider this a 6-string chord, right? Because we're playing all 6 strings, and my home bass is on the low F sharp there. So I get set up again, index finger on the high B string, middle finger on the high E string. And here's my pattern. I'll show you just the thumb first, and then all you're doing is inserting index and middle again here. So it's low E, G, A, G. So. And then I'm just inserting index and middle between each thumb stroke. One time a little slower. And all you do is just loop that over and over again and get used to your thumb starting in a different spot. And again, the more you slow it down at first, the faster this will come to you. One thing that really helps me, because at first look back to make sure you're not making any mistakes, right? Okay, but once you get that programmed in, and you don't want to look back there anymore because you get a crick in your neck, right? I try to see in my mind's eye, and it helps me to kind of visualize where my thumb is going. That really helps me a lot. So work on that, get it down by that F sharp minor by itself. And the good news is the next chord, an E major, uses the same notes or the same strings for the pattern. Overall, it's the same pattern for every chord. It's just we're basically changing what we're doing with the thumb. So for the E chord, you have low E string with your thumb, index finger on the B, then I'll bounce up all the way to the G string again with your thumb, then high E string, your middle finger, then you go to the A string with your thumb, index finger, B string, G with your thumb, high E string with your middle finger. Same exact pattern as the F sharp. And I find using that G instead of the D gives the song an overall brighter feel, which is what I'm hearing in the recording. All right, for the D, this is where things deviate a little bit. Sorry for the pun, but you have the same setup initially. These 2 fingers on the 2 high strings. You start on the D string this time because D is a 4-note kind of string when you're just strumming it. So my home bass is on the open D string. I go open D string. Well, I'll just show you the bass notes first. D, G, A, G. So it's a little more regular, like what you'd expect for a D chord. D, G, A, G. Okay? And the same thing here, just insert index finger and middle finger between each thumb note, alternating between index and middle. This one is the weirdest one to me because it deviates quite a bit from all the other chords we've covered so far, so make sure to put some extra time into the D. Okay, the G chord is next, and this falls into the category of our 6-string chord, so the pattern is the same as the E major and the F sharp minor chord. So just get your finger set up on the 2 high strings, and then thumb on the low E string, index finger on the B string, thumb on the G string, middle finger on the high E string, then A string with your thumb, index finger on the G, or the B, then thumb on the G, middle finger on the high E string. So same as the E and the F sharp minor, like I said. And just do that as slow as you can. Don't even worry about doing it in time at first. It's more important to be accurate than it is to be musical or in time with it at first. And the more you can just laser in on that, the better off you'll be. All right, the last chord we have to take a look at is just an E7. And it's the exact same pattern as an E. So just put an E on, make your 7, and then do the exact same pattern. Should be nothing new there. It's just a matter of getting used to putting the E7 down. And you don't even do 2 rotations of this E7 with the finger picking pattern when it happens in measure 28. You kind of stop. We'll get to the layout of the song here in a little bit, but most of this song is at least 1 measure of each chord. There are some measures that do 2 chords per measure. But when you have, like, it starts off each measure for the A, we'll do the finger picking pattern twice. So my recommendation would be to get the patterns down and then just start walking through each individual section of the song so you can take a look at each individual progression. So the intro is just A for 2 measures. Okay, and that's the intro. So once you're done with that, just take a look at only the verse for your next challenge. So you have a measure of A. That's when Chelsea will start singing in the jam track. You'll hear it. All right, after that A major, you have an F sharp minor for 1 full measure. So you play the finger picking pattern 2 full times. And if you're having trouble keeping up with the pattern for this, just spend some more time, stop the video, and work on just the patterns, right? So next is a measure of E. So if you've worked on the pattern individually with each chord, shouldn't be too tough for you. And now we're coming up against something where I would recommend, in the tab, you're gonna see a lot of walkdowns. I would recommend learning this without walkdowns first. Just work on getting the patterns stuck with the chords, and then you could come back and add the walkdowns, and that's what I did. That helped me learn it a little bit faster. Okay, on the next bar, you're gonna have just a half measure of D major. And this is something you're gonna see on every verse. You have this half measure of D. And what I'd think about is just playing the pattern once with a D major chord. So, and you'll see there's a walk down there, ignore that for now. And then go back into A, and you're gonna play for 1 measure, and that's kind of the first phrase of the verse. Then you start the second phrase. Okay, from there you're gonna have another measure of A to start the second phrase of the verse. Then you're gonna have a measure of F sharp minor, so the pattern twice. Okay. And then E for 1 measure, so the pattern twice. All right, the next measure is the first one where we have a split between 2 chords. So the first 2 beats are D. And then we go to an A for beats 3 and 4. So you might want to just isolate that because that's a quicker change, right? But that's how I would practice this. Just work on even the first 2 bars or first bar of the verse, and then add 2 more measures and 2 more measures. And when you do, this is what it will end up sounding like. And then you get to the chorus, and not a lot changes here if you're not doing the walkdowns. You just have to memorize the chord progression and match up to the patterns, right? So you have a measure of A, and a measure of E, measure of F sharp minor, measure of D. Not too bad. From there you go back to an A major for 1 measure, then an E for 1 measure, then a D for 1 measure, and then finish off with an A. Okay, so very much the same thing you've already been playing in the verses, just a little bit different order to the chords and the counting. So a full first chorus will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, country. Okay, now the very good news is once you've memorized verse 1 and chorus 1, you already have verse 2 and chorus 2 almost all the way memorized. The only difference between, well, there's no, verse 2 is exactly like verse 1, so that's cool. The only difference between chorus 1 and chorus 2 is the second ending, which has a walk up in it to get you into the bridge of the song. You don't have to do that for now. Just play a normal A on the second ending there. If you're looking at the tab, it's measure 20. So that measure will be, and that's just kind of a walk-up thing to get you into the bridge, which is an F sharp minor, starting out for 2 beats. So just play your pattern on F sharp minor. Okay, then an E for 2 beats. Okay, then after that you have an A for 1 measure. From there you have D for 2 beats, A for 2 beats, E for 1 full measure, or 2 times through the pattern. From there we get into one of the more challenging parts of the songs because we're changing chords every 2 beats for the next 2 measures. So you do an F sharp minor for 2 beats, G for 2 beats, D for 2 beats, A for 2 beats. Okay, so that all together without talking, those are the 2 measures. Okay, then you have a full measure of E. This is where your E7 comes in, so play half a measure of E7. And I just strum an E7 chord there for the last 2 beats of that measure. Okay, so let me play that entire bridge for you. Here we go. All right, after the bridge, you just have a double chorus, so play the chorus twice, and you're gonna see a second ending there, and that's more relevant when you're doing the walkdowns, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But once you play that last measure of A, you're gonna go in measure 37, you're gonna go to the outro or tag where you just repeat, take me home, country roads, twice. So if you're going along on your A, take me, on home, E, country, then A, roads, and do it again. Take me home, country road. And then I go A, E, A. So on the B, 3 and 3. Just to end the song there. So let me play that little outro tag for you after the second chorus. 1, 2, 3. Take me home, country road. Take me home. And that's the end of the song. Now, I would, again, just work on getting that to where you can play the patterns throughout the chord changes. From there, I'll show you some walkdowns for each specific part. And this is more done on the choruses of the song than the verses, but we'll look at all of them. Okay, the first walk down, it comes in at measure 6, that bar of 2-4 on that D chord. So let me play through the verse for you. Almost heaven, right? Here you go. I start on the D, but instead of finishing the pattern, I just go 4 on the A string for an 8th note, and then 2 on the A string for another 8th note. And that's my walk down to get me back. into the A chord, right? So let me do that again for you. I'll do it in kind of slow motion. The measure before with that E and measure 5. Here you go. So the D, then the A. Okay, that's how you get into it. And this same walk down is used at the end of the verse in the exact same context. The only difference is instead of having a half measure or a measure of 2/4 of D, you have a full measure there, and the beats 3 and 4 are on the A. So it's the exact same thing. And that gets you into the chorus. So that's a fun walk down to do. I would just isolate that. Just that one part, maybe the D to the A, that'll really help you to get it down better. It's quite a stretch, but just realize you don't have to hold this D chord down to reach out here. As soon as you do it, you can let go of that D chord, okay? Let's go on to the chorus, which has a lot more walk downs on it. All right, so let's just start with an A on the very beginning of the chorus, because the first measure has a walk down. There's lots of them. It's a walk up on this one. So A. At the end of the first measure of the chorus, you have 4th fret of the A string, open D string, and then that gets you into your low E for the E in the next measure. So 4 open, and I would go up to this E. You know, that's where it's headed, but we're going down an octave below because we're starting our E. Okay, play. All right, so let me play that for you just on that A, and you can see how it walks up to the E, and I'll keep going after that. Walk up E. From there, you just have an F sharp, and a D. At the end of this measure on beat 4, you're gonna have the same walk down you've already done with the D, 4, 2, to get you into the A. 4, and that's fret 4 and 2 on the A string. And that gets you into your next A chord. And then same thing on the A, same type of thing to get you into the E. Then 4 on beat 4, and then on the and of 4 open, D again, same thing, then back to an E. And here you have, leave your middle finger where it is on that E on beat 4, on the A string, and then and 4th fret of the A string to get you into this. You're going B, C sharp to a D. And to end the chorus, you walk back down from the D on 4, and then you're back into an A. Okay, so that's the main walk downs for both verses. Where it changes a little bit is the second time through you play verse 2. When you play verse 2, you take the second ending. You have a little bit different walk up to get into the F sharp minor. So if you're chugging along at the end of a chorus 2, on beat 4, that second ending in measure 20, you go on 4 open E, 1st fret F, and then F sharp is the bass note of the next measure for your F sharp minor. So you're walking up chromatically to get to that F sharp. And let's see. The E is normal, no walk downs. And then you have your A. And then you have your standard walk up to get to the D. 2, 4, then D, A, E. And then from here on beat 4, a measure 24, you go same thing to get up into an F sharp minor. So open on beat 4 and a beat 4 fret 1, and then that gets us back to our F sharp minor. So from there, play your F sharp minor, then your G, then D, just 4/8 notes, and then you have 4, 2, same walk down from D to an A, right? On beats 2, 2, and then 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and then you go to your E, and this is pretty much standard. There are no more walk downs as far as getting to the rest of the bridge. E7, right? And then you just go back into the chorus, same walk downs in this course. The only little bit of difference that you have to be aware of is when you get to the outro or tag. Okay, for the outro or the tag, you have your E, take me home, normal pattern for 2 beats. And then you have 4 8th notes, open, open on the low E string, 2, 4, and that leads you into an A. For 2 beats. And then you have da, 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 da. And it's like the inverse of that. You have open, open on the A string, 4 on the low E string, 2 on the low E string, and that leads you back into the E. Same thing, open, open, 2, 4, and then back to your A. Okay, that's it for this one. If you have any questions about this, please let me know in the comments, or better yet, go to guitarfm.com and sign up for your either complimentary account, or you can go and do the premium monthly account of just $9.97 a month or $97 a year, where you get access to the entire site, all of our premium courses, the accountability groups, the collaborations, all the things we're doing over there, because we really want to help you realize your dreams of playing the guitar, whatever that happens to be for you. Anyway, make sure to go get the resources on the Guitar Fam site too, and I will see you later. Bye.